Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined from distance by GR Dad.
Hi, you're in the distance. I'm here.
I
Your
am
distance.
extremely distant.
There you go. There you go. I am the center of the universe.
I
Hey.
flew from the lower right-hand corner of the country to the upper left-hand corner of the country, and it inspired this week's cocktail of the week, which is the Nickel City Frozen Irish Coffee. On my flight so I'm in Seattle for work, and on my flight from Key West to Dallas, we're going to do a whole bonus podcast for the Patreons and super followers about my truly horrific flight because of the dude who sat next to me and would not stop talking the whole time, including trying to explain to me why the Supreme Court was correct in overruling Roe versus Wade unprompted. I did not try to talk to him about this, but I think he was getting that I wasn't interested. And then he said that, and then I fucking lost it. And I went on just like an angry rant at him. And I was like, I'm sorry. So you think pregnant women whose babies are deformed and their water breaks should be forced to carry around the rotting corpses of their children because they're not actively dying. They have to wait until they're so sick that they might die to actually get some care for that. Is that what you think is okay? And he was like, no, no. Well, no, that's not right.
This,
And at some point, he's like, I didn't mean to push your button. I was like, well, you did. So now you're going to listen to all of my pent up white hot rage until you stop talking to me.
he clearly meant to push your button because he was bored that you weren't reacting. He's clearly like an infant or like a nacho. Hi, nacho.
He regretted it. So anyway, by the time I got to
Hopefully.
Dallas, I was very wound up, and I had about an hour and a half, and so I went to the Capital One Lounge, which we have access to through our fancy credit card, and they have a great bar there. And one of the things they have at the bar is Nickel City Frozen Irish Coffee, which I had two of, and then I texted you, Ingo, and I was like, "How many of these is too many?" And you said three. Two is the right number. And I said, okay. And I stopped, which was very good advice because they're delish and I would like to have had more and I would have felt really sick.
I was going to say, because at the time, I remember this too, you don't want to stop. They seem small. You're sitting down. They don't seem that
They're
strong.
so good.
They're strongly chocolatey. They don't seem strongly alcoholic. And then you get up and you're like, oh, geez, they were like significant. Yeah.
So
So
they
good.
have them, yeah, they have them in just like a slushy machine, so they just pull the little handle. But I found a recipe specifically for Nickel City Frozen Irish Coffee online because this is a bar in Austin.
Oh,
Um, yeah, and
someone
they
invented
started.
this. Yeah.
Yes, they sell them at the bar. It's their best-selling drink. So if you want to make one, and Ingo, I'm 100% making these when I get home.
Yeah.
They are 2 ounces of Irish whiskey, 2 ounces of coffee liqueur, so you can just use Kahlua, half a cup of vanilla ice cream, 2 cups of ice cubes, and 4 ounces of rich chilled coffee.
I mean, it's basically a milkshake. Well, it ends up being a milkshake with
Coffee
liquor
milkshake.
with alcohol in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a frozen Irish coffee. It's exactly what it is. Extremely good. So also, if you have access to the Capital One Lounge and you go through DFW, make time to stop there and get one. They're very good.
Yeah, it's the
So
only lounge of its kind in existence in the
they're
world.
opening a couple more, but it's the only one right now.
Yes,
Um,
it's very rare.
yeah, it's that coffee's good. So there you go. That's the cocktail of the week. Are you ready for administrative corner?
Oh, am I ready for the thing that I love? Yes, I am ready.
So I have two items in administrative corner. First, in the list of things where like 5,000 people tag me, I have a new entry.
You're on people's minds. It's nice.
I think it's great. I love that people tag me and stuff, and you're all spot on that I'm interested. I just think it's funny when like 5,000 people all are like, "Hey, I thought
This
of
is
you
something
guys."
Jen would enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5,000 people tagged me in this video of a dog who's got like a stand, and it has, it's like a stand for bowls. I think you tagged me in this and go, you're one of
I
the
sent it to
5,000
you
people.
too. Yes, yes.
And so there's a water bowl in one of the stands, and in the other stand, there's like a towel draped over it, somehow like tied together at the bottom. So the dog does some real sloppy drinking out of the bowl, and then he's trained to rest his chin on the towel that's on the other side and dry his face off. And everybody's like, "How about this for Nacho?"
No, how about we
And
trade that dog for Nacho?
we'll talk more about that in dog updates. So anyway, thank you everybody for tagging me. It's very funny. And I think it's also hilarious that 5,000 people tagged me in it. The other item in Administrative Corner is Halloween cameos. It's coming up on Halloween time. We have a 12-foot Home Depot skeleton, which I think is going to make for really excellent cameo footage. So if you want a Halloween cameo, or for yourself or for your friends, we are game, including working in the big skeleton.
Yeah, we take requests within reason. If it's not unsafe, mainly.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
So that's it for Administrative Corner, unless you have anything to add.
um, Not off the top of my head. I have a box full of medals here. Is that administrative corner, or is that ramblings, or is that nothing at all?
Well, you either ordered a medal or you didn't. It's too late to get one now. But if you ordered them, yeah, they have arrived, and Ingo and I are going to have a packing party this weekend,
Hmm.
and they're going to ship out. So most people in the U.S. should get them close to the actual date of the Voodoo Run, which is like a week from Friday,
Did most
October
people in
1st
the
and
U.S.
2nd-ish.
actually order one? Because then it's going to be a longer party for us.
Yeah, that would be a long time.
I
That'd be
know
a
what
lot
you
of
meant.
medals.
I know what
Oh,
you meant.
yep, yep. All right, so that's Administrative Corner. Dog updates. I would like to share a personal dog update, which is I got here to Seattle and I posted that I was in Seattle, and then Pavlov and Maslow's parents reached out to me and they're like, "You want to come meet Pavlov and Maslow?" And I was like,
Yeah,
"Heck yes, I sure do." So I
you're
went over
so
to their
lucky.
house on Tuesday and we just had a lovely time. And I hung out with them on the backyard and I brought toys. And Pavlov is just like a little fetch machine. He fetches better than any of our dogs, and they all were lovely humans and dogs, and I had a great time. So if you
Lucky.
don't if you don't follow, all of our followers follow them, but if for some reason you don't, it is a corgi and a Keeshond, and they have two lovely parents. Their Pav God is the Twitter handle, and they're wonderful, and I got to hang out with them, and it was great.
Lucky.
Yep.
Especially
Um,
Maslow. I like that little guy.
I know we told him like extra high for you because everybody knows that you love him so much.
We used to, I mean, everyone maybe knows this already, but when I was little, we had a Dutch bar, a Kieshund, as when I was a kid.
Yeah,
It was like my first dog was looked like Maslow, so I have a sentimental attachment to him.
they are cute dogs.
They're like Venks, but super fluffy.
So fluffy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my personal dog update. And then we do have one major dog update. And if we tell it like a story, it begins last week as GR Dad was making dinner and Nacho and Remy had a fight. There was no blood drawn, but it was not a good one. Uh, we each ended up picking up a dog like in a full bear hug and like yanking them apart and throwing them into separate rooms. Nacho, not always, but when food is around, can sometimes get reactive, which is not good. And with any of the other dogs, I think if he were to like make a little angry face at them, they'd kind of back off. But Remy doesn't do that because he was like on a chain his whole life and he's blind. And
Yeah,
if
he
he
doesn't
feels
even
another
see the
dog,
subtle hints, so he overreacts. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he kind of freaks out if a dog comes at him, which totally makes sense. Um, so so it that was just sort of the last thing that made us go like we really have to find a way to get Nacho up to see Michael the trainer because Nacho's got lots of issues, but they all kind of come down to two related things. One is that he is kind of very overstimulated and doesn't know how to regulate that. Like we can you. You take him out swimming every morning. I take him for 2 walks a day. He plays in the middle. Like, that dog is not understimulated.
Okay.
Like, we do so much brain stuff and physical activity, and he still, like, we'll put when we need him to just, like, settle down, like, he will settle in his crate, and the second we let him out, he's, like, all over the place, bouncing off the walls. He just doesn't know what to
Bouncing
do
off the
with
walls is
himself.
exactly right. Yeah.
Like, literally bouncing off the walls. Um, and he's also kind of insecure, which, on Operation Nacho Run, when we were bringing him out, people saw this where he's kind of timid around new people sometimes. That's certainly where the, food reactivity comes. He's not super reactive. It's just, every few weeks there's like a little sign of it. Um, and, Toby, who we fostered, for those of you who've been with us for a while, I mean, Nacho's not as bad as Toby, but Toby was like that, where he literally would bounce off the walls and just like he couldn't even eat. Like, he'd take one bite of food and then like run around the basement and jump on the bed and like jump someplace else and then come back and get another bite. Like, he just didn't know what to do with himself. Um, and so training can fix that. And uh, I have been teaching Nacho stuff, and he loves to learn stuff. Like, he's got a really amazing stay.
Yeah.
Like, I can put him in a stay
Surprising
and
for
walk out
his.
of the room and count to 5. Yeah, it's so good. And he learns very fast. Like, he's such a smart dog, but I don't quite know how to train this. And it's also really hard with 5 other dogs around. So,
Absolutely.
I talked to,
I tried to put him in a stay today, and four other dogs ran out the door while I was like keeping Nacho in his stay. So
yeah.
it was real distracting for everyone. Yeah.
And there's like only so much you can expect from him if we're trying to teach him, and then all the other dogs are doing all this other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Um, so Michael has fixed this in other dogs. Guac was sort of like this and came out great from that training. And Toby was a kind of more extreme version and came out great from his training. So we talked to Michael, and I was like, Michael, here's when we're going to be in Maryland. And he's like, that's funny. That's when I'm going to be in Florida. And I was like, ugh, we've got to make this work. So Ingo is taking Nacho up the beginning of next week, and we're going to drop him off, and he's going to board and train, which, like, on one hand is very sad because I will miss him, and I feel a little bad that he's going to be just like by himself. On the other hand, he's going to be like with Michael all day every day and going to day camp, and he gets lots of walks, and they're going to do swim time, so it's going to be real summer campy for him, and he's going to stay up there until we all come up um, about 10 days later. So he's going to do a full 10 days of board and train with Michael, and it's going to be great.
Yeah, it is a fun summer camp. Michael has some dogs too, and so he won't be, he'll be alone at night, but he should be sleeping anyway.
Yeah, and he should be real tired at the end of those days.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, so that's the plan. So you've got a big road trip coming up.
that's the usual.
Yeah.
I almost know every rest stop on 95 now on that stretch. It's pretty good.
Oh, you've done it so many
Yeah.
times. So that's the current plan. Uh, Nacho's going to Michael no matter what. There is a little bit of a question of uh, what else we do because there's maybe a hurricane coming, and we're kind of on wait and see mode with the
It's like
hurricane.
in Venezuela right now, isn't it? Sort of right off the shore of South America.
Yeah, it's down there, and it's not even like a tropical depression at this point, but everyone can see it moving west, sort of in the Caribbean, and it's going to hit all of the extremely warm water in the Caribbean and then eventually the Gulf of Mexico, like 90% sure, which is going to make it get giant. And then the question is, where does it go? And nobody knows. I've been reading friggin' spaghetti models all day, and they're just all over the place. Like, some of them have it going just like straight to Cancun, just like continuing straight across the Gulf. Some of them have it like crossing the eastern side of Cuba and going out into the Atlantic. A bunch of them have it going directly over the Florida Keys. But nobody knows at this point. Like, it's not even a tropical depression at this point, and we can't tell. So
Yeah,
we're just
one
kind
of
of
them
keep.
will have been right because there's like, such a wide fan of potential routes. Like someone gets to say, "Oh, I knew it," even though there's 100 predictions.
And I mean, like, I've been looking at Twitter, which is just dumb because it's like a bunch of like
Eh.
high school weather nerds, like meteorology majors, who are like, it's like so unusual to have like this much agreement between these three models 5 days out. And it's like they pick these three models that all have like the eye of this hurricane over Key West. And it's like, sure, there's eight other models that show it hitting like Alabama, Texas, like
Right.
panhandle of Florida. Like, it's like, oh, look, there's these three models here. And so it's just like, they it's very like, look at this thing, look at this thing that I found. And it's like nobody fucking knows. All the like professionals are like, we have no idea what's going to happen with this. Like, stop being dumb and like picking these, you know. I mean, it could be a very bad hurricane. It could be a category 5 hurricane, and really scary. Like, and everybody's kind of freaking out about it because there's like real potential for it to be a very major hurricane in the Gulf, but we don't know. Like, we have no idea, and we can't make any decisions because we have no idea what's happening. But we do kind of agree that, like, if it looks like there's going to be, some badness in the Keys, um, I will evacuate the other dogs, and I don't know if we'll go all the way up to Maryland or not, but we just got to wait for the weekend and kind of see what happens. So
Yeah, it does. I mean,
anyway,
this is where the having the
yeah.
RV is good because it actually makes sense to get it out of here anyway because it's not exactly hurricane proof. Frankly,
No,
it's
that's
like
right.
it's like an umbrella, pretty much an umbrella.
Like, you are taking Nacho to Michael and dropping him off on Tuesday morning, and the vague predictions that show that hurricane in the Keys, the hurricane would be here on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
So, uh, we'll know by Sunday if we should evacuate or not, and if we should, maybe we all just go up to
Cool.
Maryland
Fun.
together. Yeah, like, because we're planning to go kind of a week after that anyway, like the weekend after next I'm running the London Marathon, and then our plan was to go to Maryland after that. So we could just go a week early if we have to run away from the hurricane. But we just got to wait and see.
We've got a self-contained dog transport vehicle.
Yes, we have lots of options, and it's going to be fine. We will not put the dogs in a scary situation. If it's like a tropical storm, even if it's like a category 1 hurricane, we'll be fine. It's going to be windy and we maybe will lose power for a day. But if it looks like it's going to be anything more than that, we'll get out of there just because of the dogs.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's hard enough to deal with everything, but we can't really take care of 6 dogs without power and water.
indeed, for like potentially a long time.
Yeah. We need drugs, man. Drugs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. So so there you go. That's that. That's sort of like taste of the Keys, is maybe hurricane coming. Um, did you have anything you wanted to add to dog updates, Ingo?
I'm looking around. Nope. Nope. Everyone's as mischievous as ever.
You've done a great job taking care of everybody while I have been gone
Well, you
all
don't
week.
know. They can't talk.
I mean, I look at the snaps and everybody seems to be alive and okay.
They are alive. They're all secretly writing you emails. When are you coming home? Ingo's mean to us.
I'm taking the red eye, you guys. I'll be
I'm
home
sick of him
soon.
putting me in my crate every time I bark for 5 minutes straight.
I mean, I would do that too, Nacho.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I do have one item under
Oh, okay.
ramblings.
Ramble on.
This is from the Lexington Herald
In
Leader.
Lexington, Kentucky. Yep.
hmm The headline is "One Chip Challenge Left 13 Students at a Kentucky School with Adverse Symptoms," officials say.
I know what that is.
Longtime listeners of the pod will know that Ingo and I did the Pocky One Chip Challenge Um, it's
What a
a
marketing ploy.
Carolina Reaper and I mean, they don't lie though. It's one, so you get this like coffin shaped box and it has one tortilla
It's
chip in
one
it,
chip. It's literally
like
one.
like a
You get
Dorito
a bag of
size,
Doritos.
one
This is
chip.
one of them.
It's one. And it's instead of like the Dorito nacho cheese flavor, it has Carolina Reaper and scorpion pepper, like real hot pepper on it. And you're the challenge is to eat the one chip. And we did it on the podcast a few years ago, maybe
Yeah, if you go on
2019.
the wiki, I'm sure it's don't it's you know. I think your quote was, "This is profoundly unpleasant."
It was profoundly unpleasant. Yeah, it really felt not good. I mean, we didn't like there's videos of people doing it and they throw up or they start crying or they start sweating. My mouth just hurt real
Yeah,
bad because it was really
lips,
hot.
mouth,
It wasn't
throat.
that bad.
Yeah,
And it takes about 20 minutes to go away. Um,
I think we shared one though.
so
It may have been 20 minutes.
we
20
shared
minutes for
one.
half a chip.
I don't think it matters. I think it's just like once you get that coating in your mouth, even if it's a tiny bit, like it's gonna
Yeah.
burn. So anyway, Anko and I have done the one chip challenge. It was not fun. I don't recommend it. Um, I like hot food, but this was not fun. This is just like it makes everything
Yeah.
hurt. Anyway, okay. So now we have middle school students, and let's be honest,
Of
boys,
course.
middle
Of
school
course.
boys. At least 13 Harlan County Middle School students experienced, quote, adverse symptoms after participating in the one chip challenge, in which a person eats one extremely spicy tortilla chip.
Spicy is good. Yeah, spicy.
Several students at one of our schools experienced adverse symptoms after participating in the challenge and consuming only a single chip. These guys did not try
No.
the chip. Of the 17 7th and 8th graders at Cumberland Elementary School who participated in the challenge on their own during lunch, 13 reported symptoms ranging from vomiting to pain and swelling, Assistant Principal Sandy Cope told the Herald later. Okay. The large chip is about the size of a tortilla. That's not true. It's the size of a tortilla chip.
Right. Not a tortilla like Taco Bell. No, no. This is a tortilla
Oh,
chip.
here you go, Ingo. One student brought the chip to school and it was broken into pieces. So they had one of these chips and they broke it into 17 pieces and they distributed it to these kids. 5 students vomited. Others had severe abdominal pain, burned or swelled lips that turned red, and one reported problems breathing. I don't think these are adverse symptoms. I think these are
Predictable
symptoms. Like
consequences.
this this is what it says is going to happen on the
This
box.
is why you do
Happened.
it. Yes. Yeah, if your life is so boring that you need to have pain in your mouth, here's the chip for you.
Let me just read you this statement in the article because it's just like the most middle school principal-y statement ever. Participating in challenges and or exchanging food on school campuses is a direct violation of school and district policies.
Ugh.
Our goal is to dissuade students from participating in any sort of challenge to keep them safe. It's just like such a thing a middle school would
It's
say.
so I mean, it's clearly not aimed at the kids. Maybe the parents, but it really
They do,
says.
yeah. They do point out that the packaging of the chip says to keep it away from children.
Who
But
bought
here's
this
what
for
it
the
says on the
children?
box. So the box has like literally a big red warning label on the back. It says warning with like little stripies behind it up at the top. And it says in all caps, do not eat if you are sensitive to spicy foods, allergic to peppers, nightshades, or capsaicin, or are pregnant or have any medical conditions. Keep out of reach of children. After touching the chip, wash your hands with soap and do not touch your eyes or other sensitive areas. Seek medical assistance should you experience difficulty breathing, fainting, or extended nausea. I like it's extended nausea because you're going to have regular
A little bit
nausea.
of nausea is totally normal, guys.
So it's one chip, 25 calories. So that means it's about double the size of a Dorito.
but it's one. It comes. It costs like a bag, but it's one chip. It's just.
It costs like a bag, but it's just one
It
chip.
may have
Yeah.
a skull and crossbones on it. The box. It is cost.
It's got a definitely got a skull with like a big open mouth and like a flame on its head. And it's in a coffin shaped
There's no
package.
mystery what it's gonna do, and it did, and these middle schoolers found out.
In Alabama, Montgomery Public Schools reported several students were hospitalized after participating in the challenge, to which I say those kids were weenies.
Dramatic much?
I said
Who
it and
knows
I
why they
meant
had to
it.
go to the hospital? School nurse may have sent them.
Hospital. I guess. I guess they could have been allergic or something, but I think they probably were like, "Oh my god, my mouth hurts so bad." And it's like, "Yeah, dick, like that's why I ate the chip."
I think it's a school nurse move. Just be like, they need hospitalization. They could be burning up.
Yeah, it
It's
could be.
fine. Give them some milk.
Well, there you go. That's my ramblings update.
It's a good.
Um,
That's a good one.
I am now handing the podcast over to you for German Word of the Week, Ingo Corner. Any ramblings you want to add? Like you're in charge for the rest of our time.
But you're just gonna leave?
And no, I'm going to stay,
That's
but
so lame.
you're in charge.
Okay. All right. One of the German words should be Windgeschwindigkeit, just because it sounds like a good German word.
Windgeschwindigkeit.
Yeah, it just means wind speed. All right, Wind, and then
Oh.
Geschwindigkeit. So it's just wind speed. But it seems apropos of all the crazy stuff that may or may not be happening, heading this way or
Yeah.
other ways. Someone was saying that if the Hurricane Fiona, right, the one that just plowed through Puerto Rico, it's going to go past the Bermuda, and then it's going to hit Canada. It's going to make landfall in like
Yeah.
Nova Scotia, and if it doesn't settle way down, and it's not predicted to, it may be the biggest storm to ever hit Canada. Hurricane to ever hit
Wow.
Canada. No, because it's like a Category 4 right now, I think. Even Floridians evacuate for a Category 4.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's still over the ocean, so who knows what's going to happen with that thing. So anyway, that's a big one too. I'm glad we dodged that bullet, frankly.
No kidding.
Glad that didn't go anywhere. So Windgeschwindigkeit would be
Windgeschwindigkeit. Nice.
would be my word. Dad's corner. I got nothing. I got nothing special.
All right, that's okay.
Yeah. I miss you and I want you back, but because obviously I can't do it remotely without my muse sitting next to me.
That's nice. I miss you too, and I'm coming back on the red eye, Ingo.
This is good. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm quite glad about it.
Excellent. See you tomorrow.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We'll have lots of updates with the training starting next week. Because some people have issues with dogs being trained and say jerk stuff to me, I don't post the videos that Michael sends us of the dogs getting trained to the regular Twitter. I have done it before, and then people say mean things, and I don't need that in my life, so I don't post it there. But I post it for the super followers and the Patreons because they are pre-screened to be awesome people. And that included when Voods was getting trained, Voods going through an agility tunnel, like the little, very slowly.
Yeah,
but I bet Michael he couldn't get him to do it, and he did.
There was no no. He was just like, I'm going through this tunnel. Check me out.
Yep. So we're gonna get lots of footage of Nacho at training from Michael next week, and I'm gonna just post them all up to the Patreons and the super followers. So it's $5. You could do it just for a month, and if you want to see all of that footage for 10 days, that's the place to go. I'm also trying to figure out, they have like a webcam that goes in his kennel or his little room. I mean, it's very fancy.
Sweet.
And I
It's
can't send.
Come on.
Yeah. I can't send like 1,500 people to the webcam because we'll crash it, but I'm going to try to see if there's a way that I can like
put a camera on it.
Live stream. I'm thinking what I'll do is like log in and embiggen it and then like live stream my computer like if like a Zoom kind of thing where people could like connect to me where I'm rebroadcasting. I'm going to try to figure out how to do that. Which I would also share. So even if you don't want to like permanently be a super follower, it may be worth the $5 if you want 10 days of Nacho getting trained
If you want to see
videos
Nacho sleep
and to
when
watch
he's in
him
his
sleep.
suite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad I'm coming home and go.
Okay.
I miss you and the
Me
dogs.
too. They do too.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for
Oh,
listening.
I did have one
and
more thing.
until-
One more.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh my
I'm
God.
sorry.
Oh my
I'm sorry. I
God.
waited till the last possible minute. This is good.
You
Someone
did.
designed
That's okay.
a BuzzFeed quiz about which Golden Ratio 2.0 dog are you, and I think it's awesome. I just want to call it out. I think it is like such a fun little activity. It's on Twitter, I
We
think.
retweeted it.
Yes.
Yep.
But to anyone who's not on Twitter or missed that thread, it's fun. It's fun. You can kind of try to
Come over and you'll find it.
try to become the dog that you want to be, or you can try to be honest and then see who you'd be.
Who were you?
So far I've been Brody, but I'm trying for everyone else.
Oh, I got a Boots. I'm
Nice. Well, that's predictable. If you just say no to every question, then maybe you're Boots. All right, Venk, hi.
I got a lot of nerd in me this week, so I'm feeling it.
There you go. I think that's good. My phone is making a reflection on the ground, and Venk is hopping on it, and now she's also making squeaking sounds, which is very amusing to her.
Oh,
Not as amusing for me,
She's
but
a
pretty
good
good.
dog. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. And until next week, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you.
That's right. No biting.
Bye.
Bye.